Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to talk about Barcelona scouting yet another central defensive midfielder named Franck Kessie. And then later on in the video, we're also going to be talking about Araujo's latest fitness updates. And lastly, we are going to be talking about the latest details on the Camp Nou. All of this is going to be discussed within today's video. But before we go into that topic, I do want to talk about the OneFootball app. The OneFootball app is considered as the best football app you could find within the App Store when it does come to the latest player news, team stats, player stats, any tournament that you do want to follow. It is all compact within the OneFootball app. And for those of you guys who are in the UK, you guys would also be able to see La Liga highlights if you guys are following either FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Valencia, Real Sociedad. If you guys are in the UK, you would be able to see those teams' highlights. And again, all of this is going to be compact within the OneFootball app. The link is going to be down in the description box down below. By clicking that link, you guys would also be able to support this YouTube channel. But now let's get back into the video. So Barcelona is yet scouting another player that does consist of the central defensive midfield position. So Franck Kessie is a player that is 24 years old. He is from Ivory Coast. He does play for AC Milan, and it does say here, according to Fernando Polo, Barcelona are really interested in AC Milan's Franck Kessie for a free transfer in the summer of 2022 if he does not renew his contract. The club does see him as a more than an interesting player with plenty of quality and experience. So Franck Kessie is a player that's very similar to Denis Zakaria, a player that we have previously talked about a couple of videos ago. And when I do mean by similar players, I am talking about the roles, the spaces that they do occupy. They are very similar when it comes to those things. Now, if I were to separate Franck Kessie to Denis Zakaria, who is again another central defensive midfielder, Franck Kessie is a player that's more technical. His dribbling is also much more superior. And at AC Milan, just for some context, they do play in a 4-2-3-1. And Franck Kessie usually plays in the double pivot, or sometimes he does play in the central midfield position within that three-man midfield. So if you guys ever do see this player play very high up the pitch, it is because sometimes he does take the spot of the central midfield position. But 80% of the time that he does play for AC Milan, he is playing more of a defender role. But now hearing that Barcelona has been linked with Franck Kessie and another player named Denis Zakaria, this is telling me two things. Point number one, Barcelona is scouting for a central defensive midfielder. If you guys see that pattern going on, the players that we have been linked with over the past few days, they have been central defensive midfielders. And I think that that is the plan coming from the board, because they believe that these players that they are looking for and are scouting at the moment are not players that are in Barcelona at the moment. We have high technical central defensive midfielders. We have passing experts within the midfield position, but we do not have central defensive midfielders who are very much more physical, players who have the legs to run up and down the pitch. And Barcelona might be planning to go for a double pivot in the near future, because if you're going to tell me that we're going to have Busquets, Nico Gonzalez, maybe Jandro Orellana, and then bring in a player like Denis Zakaria or Franck Kessie, then we could go for a double pivot. But that's going to be for a whole other separate video. Going on to point number two, Joan Laporta is basically repeating the transfer window that he has had in this previous summer and coming up with that exact same strategy into the summer of 2022, which basically means that Barcelona are looking for expired contracts. They are looking for players who are coming to their last few months within the contract with their clubs. And I believe that that is how Barcelona is going to be moving for the next 1 to 2 transfer windows, because Barcelona simply do not have the money to be spending 60 to 70 million euros in every transfer window. So seeing how Joan Laporta brought in Emerson, Agüero, Memphis Depay, Eric Garcia, all under free transfers, except for Emerson, right? They paid 9 million euros, but basically for all free transfers, I do believe that that is the direction they're going to be going for in the next summer, just seeing at how Barcelona is moving as of today. And so if there's any further reports regarding this player, we are going to be talking about it here in this YouTube channel. Now moving on to Ronald Araujo, and we do have some very big fitness updates regarding this player. And no, when it comes to injuries, right, we're not going to be talking about Agüero today. We're not going to be talking about Martin Braithwaite or Dembele. What we are going to be talking about is going to be about Ronald Araujo, unfortunately, because it does say here, and it is official, that Araujo does have discomfort in his right thigh and will not be involved in the Uruguay's remaining matches this week, and he will be coming back to Barcelona for a further treatment. And there has also been other reports stating that there's a big possibility that he may be out for 15 days, which basically means that he will be missing the matches against Valencia, Dinamo Kiev, and Real Madrid. Now let's take a moment, right, to really process exactly what just happened here, because the fact that Barcelona is going to be missing Araujo for these next 15 days and these next 3 games, that is going to be a huge loss for FC Barcelona, because Araujo is basically the reason why Barcelona did not get clapped or demolished against Benfica or Bayern Munich or Granada. Like, we could have lost 5-0 against Benfica, we could have lost 5-0 against Bayern Munich, we could have lost 2-0 against Granada, but because Araujo was putting out great performances in those matches. That is the reason why those losses did not get to that stage. And the only thing that this does call for, it is going to be Eric Garcia. Eric Garcia is going to have to be playing for these matches no matter what. He's going to have to start. Now, keep in mind that against Dinamo Kiev, Eric Garcia in the previous match against Benfica, he did receive a red card, so he's not going to be playing against Dinamo Kiev, which basically means that once we do play against Dinamo Kiev, we're either going to have to choose Umtiti or Lenglet, or if Ronald Koeman wants to go with what he always does, which is to use Frankie de Jong in the center back position, then we're probably going to have to go in that route. And that's most likely going to be our option. It is going to be Frankie de Jong playing alongside Gerard Piqué. And this basically does show us that there is lack of options, because the fact that we have to rely on a central defensive midfielder or a central midfielder like Frankie de Jong to play in the center back position, this should be a very big alarm for Joan Laporta and the rest of the board members. We're going to have to move for a great center back and a great backup and reliable backup in case Araujo or Gerard Piqué or maybe even Eric Garcia does get injured, because as of now Umtiti and Lenglet cannot be relied on. So if you're going to tell me that Eric Garcia and Piqué are going to be the center back duo against Valencia and Real Madrid, and then we're going to be seeing Frankie de Jong and Gerard Piqué as the center back duo for Dinamo Kiev, do I believe that these two solutions are going to be workable? Yes, I do think that this could be workable if Ronald Koeman comes with the idea with Barcelona to play with the idea of possession, to play with the idea of always wanting the ball and having a high press. Yes, we could really work with Eric Garcia and Gerard Piqué in that center back duo, or Frankie de Jong and Gerard Piqué within that center back duo. It could greatly work, but I highly do doubt that. I highly do doubt that Koeman will go in that route after what we have seen in the past 4 to 5 games. And let me tell you, if we're going to go in that route, if we're going to be a team where we're going to be sitting back in a 4-4-2 or we're going to be sitting back in a 5-4-1, there are going to be teams like Valencia, Dinamo Kiev, Real Madrid that are going to be taking advantage of the spaces that we do leave behind. And you're going to tell me that Frankie de Jong or Gerard Piqué or Eric Garcia are going to be able to handle those spaces that they leave behind? No, they're not those type of center backs. The only player that can actually run back and put pressure on the wingers, it is only going to be Ronald Araujo. So it's going to be a huge loss, and Ronald Koeman is going to have to be very careful on how he approaches these teams. But whatever news does come out later down the road, hopefully Ronald Araujo does return early. Maybe we could hear that in the near future, but whatever does happen with Araujo, again, we will be discussing that here in this YouTube channel. And then lastly, I do want to give some quick updates regarding the Camp Nou. Now, it does say here, and it is official, the Spanish authorities have given the green light for the fans to occupy 100% of the capacity at the Camp Nou. Now, this is some huge news, and this does bring a huge smile to my face, and I know that many people within the club and the fans of FC Barcelona are so excited to hear this great news, because I felt like we were the last league to actually allow 100% of the capacity, because everything does seem like it's going okay. And again, this is some huge news. Yes, it is because of the revenues that we are going to be receiving for the season. Of course, that's always going to be great news, but what excites everyone the most, it is about the fans returning back to the Camp Nou, to actually hear the fans cheering, rooting for these players, supporting these players when we are going through these tough moments. Because in those previous games that we have played, we have been at 60% capacity, and I don't know if you guys do remember, but we sounded amazing in the Camp Nou. It felt so great to hear the fans cheer for these players. Imagine what it's going to be like once we do hit the 100%. Imagine what it's going to sound like within the Camp Nou. And like I have said before, these players are going to be needing it. These players need that support, and especially looking at the circumstances that's currently going on in Barcelona. We're going to be playing against Valencia, Real Madrid, and Dinamo Kiev at home, and to have the fans back at 100% capacity, that is a huge W for the Spanish authorities. Thank you so much, whoever's working within those departments, to bring these fans, to allow these fans back into the Camp Nou, because this club will be needing it. But that is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.